Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to another video, and it's your host Elifye. Now, I have decided to begin a brand new series called Talks with Elifye, and this will be the first ever episode of this series in general. Within this series, we will be discussing recent NBA activity that will be occurring basically every single day as we get deeper and deeper within the 2020-21 NBA season, and we are currently getting closer and closer to the NBA playoffs. There has been many events regarding NBA basketball that is worthwhile talking about within this show. But in this episode, we will be discussing possibly one of the hottest teams and the team that is currently viewed as a tough contender in the Eastern Conference, the Brooklyn Nets.
Rebounded by Hart, finds Durant for three, yes.
How about the play right there? Hart getting it to KD off of the offensive rebound.
Speaking of the Brooklyn Nets, my pardon, but I just have to get this out my system momentarily. It is great to finally have a New York team actually be real threats to win an NBA championship. Now, I'm from New York City myself, and it just gives me an astonishing feeling to see a New York team rebuild and prevail at their efficient pace. But anyway, some events to consider with this team is the fact that they're playing at a very high and dominant level without their best player in Kevin Durant. Now, Kevin Durant has missed an excessive amount of time due to injury, and we are witnessing James Harden and Kyrie Irving pick up the load in order to cover for the loss of impact in Kevin Durant, and they're winning game after game. Speaking of which, this episode is being recorded the day after they earned another victory against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, earlier this season, this team was literally struggling, and it came to a point where this team was sitting at a record of 14-12, but then they all of a sudden got their chemistry in order, and now it has gotten to a point where if they lose a game, it's almost like a surprise. This team is currently sitting with a record of 32-15, and they're currently knocking on the door to potentially take over the first seed from the Philadelphia 76ers. But one thing to consider: if you guys don't know the reasoning for Kevin Durant joining the Brooklyn Nets, his main desire was to gain the respect that he wanted for winning an NBA championship without a dominant super team that he was present with regarding the Golden State Warriors. He was being highly criticized by every single individual in the NBA world because he had to quote-unquote take the easy way out and join a 73-9 Warriors team in order to win his first ever NBA championship. Obviously, he was being criticized for this notion, and now he's on a Brooklyn Nets team where he isn't even playing games and they're literally winning without him. The Warriors were able to win a championship without Kevin Durant in 2015, and now the Brooklyn Nets are playing the way they are with Kevin Durant watching from the sidelines. Will Kevin Durant be criticized yet again for his lack of value on the Brooklyn Nets, as he was also criticized for within the Golden State Warriors? His main goal was to accomplish winning on his own team, and apparently the Brooklyn Nets seem perfectly fine without Kevin Durant on the floor. The world may never know until this season is all said and done.
Irving on a switch, he's got Durant. Irving, oh no! Oh yes!
Unstoppable. Because of what we've talked about, we've seen throughout the duration of this game, he has been on fire from the three.
Now, let us discuss another topic. This Brooklyn Nets team has literally stunned the NBA league as they keep on stockpiling player after player, especially from the buyout market. Originally, from the beginning of this season, this Nets team had a team consisting of Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Caris LeVert, Jarrett Allen, and so on, and now they technically have a completely different team. This is old news, but they have acquired Blake Griffin from the buyout market, and yes, we all know how Griffin was able to finesse the Detroit Pistons by basically not trying to play in order to ring chase to the Brooklyn Nets. Griffin is coming off the bench for this team, and he is playing great minutes for what his role is on the Brooklyn Nets. And now, sticking towards more recent events, the Nets also signed LaMarcus Aldridge to a one-year vet minimum since he was also bought out from the San Antonio Spurs. So let me get this straight. This team has Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Blake Griffin, Joe Harris, and now LaMarcus Aldridge. What? But Now, obviously, their recent pickups in Griffin and Aldridge aren't going to be as great as they once were on their former team, since they have to defer to more star players on the Nets, and they're simply a former shell of their former prime. But who's to say that they still don't have anything left in the tank? Aldridge hasn't played a single game for the Nets as of yet, but he could play very exceptional off the bench alongside Blake Griffin. And this could be the deciding factor for the Nets coming out of the East to win their first ever franchise championship this season. The Nets are looking real scary, and they were already favored to win the championship this season, but the addition of LaMarcus Aldridge made their odds go up significantly. Once Kevin Durant finally comes off of his injury to play another game for the Nets, just how scary will this team look to you guys? But other than that, that will end today's episode of Talks with Eli. This is the first ever episode, and there will definitely be more to come. Now, maybe I'll implement some advanced transitions within these episodes, and hopefully you guys enjoy the debut of this series. If you guys want to discuss the latest news or action that occurs within this league, this is the perfect show for you. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.